Jason here, and I'm back with another Nanocoaster video. Today we have Wonder Woman Flight of Courage from Six Flags Magic Mountain. You may have noticed I have the Jersey Devil Nanocoaster sitting here already. That's because Jersey Devil is a near clone of Wonder Woman. There's just a couple of small differences between the two models. Typically I don't purchase models that are clones or near clones. I already had Railblazer, so I didn't get Wonder Woman Golden Lasso Coaster. I already had Goliath from Magic Mountain. So I didn't get Titan at Six Flags Over Texas. But because I have a complete collection of all of the Magic Mountain Nano coasters, I wanted to keep that going. So here I am with this one anyways, even though, like I said, it's a near clone of the Jersey Devil coaster, one that we have right here. This model is available from Six Flags Magic Mountain for $37.99. It is also eligible for any pass holder or membership discounts that you may get. So if you have a season pass or membership, make sure you get that discount. So let's jump right in. So the box contains four things. We have a single sheet of instructions, just single-sided. There's nothing on the back. We have the base plate. We have one sheet of track pieces. And then we have a little tip sheet here telling you kind of how to cut the pieces out. It tells you to use nail clippers. I actually use some flush edge wire cutters here that I've used on all my models. These are available from Amazon. I do have a link down below if you're interested, but really any flush edge wire cutter should work. I don't get any kickbacks or anything if you click on that link. So the first step here is going to be to peel the blue plastic off of this black acrylic sheet. This is a step that's oftentimes forgotten by people, but kind of crucial to making it look great. You can kind of just get your fingers underneath the edge of the piece and then start peeling. On the top, you have the entire coaster layout etched into it. So the plastic is actually going to come off in multiple pieces. You can see here I can take off just this outer part as one piece, but the inner piece is going to come off in separate pieces. When we do the back, because the back doesn't have that track layout etched in it, we should be able to peel the entire back off with just one pull. So there we have the base plate completely rebuilt. The next step is going to be to cut out each of the pieces from this sheet. Like I said, I'm going to use these flat edge wire cutters to just go around. You can see next to each piece there's several connection points that we need to cut. You want to try to cut these as close to the track as possible. You're probably going to have little nubs on there. You can't get them all the way unless you have better cutters than I do. But with these ones you can get fairly close. So we'll just kind of go around each of these pieces. You want to be careful to try not to bend the track pieces too much when you do this. You want them to come off mostly flat. You'll probably have a few small bends, and you can fix those as you assemble it. But we're going to try to just go around each of these and remove them from the sheet. So there we have the 6 track pieces, the little sign, and the station building cut out from the sheet. You can see they're mostly flat, a little bit of bending there. When we build it, a lot of that will disappear and we'll be able to make it look good. So the first thing I like to do before I start, and this is something that's not included with the models, I like to put a little or an enlarged logo on the base plate. So with this model, you do have the little sign here that has the Wonder Woman logo. You also have on the lift hill the Wonder Woman logo that was in the original concept art. That was never actually put in. I don't know if that will be added in the future or not, but it was in the concept art and it is on the model here. But I like to also add one here. So here I've cut out the Wonder Woman logo from metallic silver vinyl, and I found a blank sheet here on the base plate that's large enough to put it. And so just here on the base plate, I'm going to add the Wonder Woman logo. Just like that. I did consider trying to add the entire Flight of Courage logo. However, it's pretty detailed and it probably wouldn't have worked that well. And so the lift hill has the Wonder Woman logo, the little sign has the Wonder Woman logo, because ultimately that one's a lot easier to see. When you're dealing with logos here that are only about 3/4 of an inch tall, you really can't have a lot of details. So now it's time to begin track assembly. Step one is going to have us utilizing this piece here. It's going to have 3 hills on it, one long tab, one medium tab, and then 2 individual short tabs. This piece is only going to have very, very minor bending, not a lot to it. And one of the nice things you'll see once you start putting these together is the pieces will really only fit one piece in the base plate, and so that kind of helps you here. But this piece is going to start on the second track line in. We're going to start here with this longest tab here at the end and get that lined up. I do have some minor bends in this tab, and so it's not lining up perfectly, but we can flatten that out, straighten it, and then we'll drop this medium one into place. And as we do this, we'll also do these 2 end small ones. We're going to have to bend it a little bit to get this last one. So like I said, there's not a lot of bending with this piece, but there is one slight curve there at the end. And now we have them all lined up. We can just kind of go along and make sure that we get all of these tabs pushed all the way through. And then once they're pushed all the way through, down here on the bottom we have 4 small tabs. When you do this, you'll want to make sure that you look at the other cutouts next to it and only bend away from them. So this first one here, you'll see that we have a cutout that runs exactly parallel with it, right above it. So if we fold the tab up, we may block that a little bit. Down here at the bottom, there's another tab that's slightly off aligned. So we're actually going to bend that one that direction. Same thing here. So down below this one, we have one that's kind of perfectly centered, which means there's probably going to be a tab in the middle. Up here above, there's another one that overlaps a little bit, but it's off aligned. So we're going to bend that tab up. For these 2 smaller ones, it doesn't look like it really matters. They're both going to, they're not really near anything. So we can just kind of push them in all the way and bend them down whichever direction we want. So that's the first track piece installed there. Once that is installed, we can kind of go along with our fingers and just make sure it's perfectly straight. Make sure it follows the layout on the base plate. Make sure that your curves and stuff are just right. And so that's our first piece of track installed. So the second piece is going to pick up where that one left off, and it's going to use this one here. So it's going to be the hop here into the brake run, and I believe it's going to bend around. Yeah, it's going to bend around and do the station to the beginning of the lift hill even. And so we're actually going to start right where we left off from that last piece with the single tab, and then bend it to the brake run. So this is the part that's actually different from Jersey Devil Coaster. So Jersey Devil Coaster is completely straight, where Wonder Woman actually has this extra wave turn here at the end, and then it turns into the brake run in the station. It has a little bit different type of plot of land, and so they had a little bit more room to work with at Magic Mountain. But we can do that there. And then we're going to have a fairly sharp turn here to the station. And this you just want to, don't force it, just kind of bend it around to where the station is, and then bend it again to where the lift hill is. If you don't want any sharp bends here. Roller coaster track doesn't bend sharply, but if you just kind of bend it from a distance rather than bending, right at the corner, it'll kind of just naturally follow the track layout. Very simply. Sometimes I use like batteries and things. For this one, it didn't really seem like that was necessary. So that piece is now in there. Now, once again, we can come here on the bottom and then bend over each of these tabs. And like I said, you want to make sure, once again, that nothing overlaps. It doesn't look like with this piece that's going to be a problem regardless. None of these tabs are near another one, but that's going to be the second piece of track installed. So the third piece is going to be this piece here that has I believe it's an airtime hill and a stall. I can't remember exactly, but I believe that's what this is. Kind of looks like 2 airtime hills on here, but I believe one of them is a stall on the coaster. I don't have a picture of it here. This piece is actually not going to connect to either of the 2 pieces that we've already done. This is going to run on this outer edge here. And so you'll see we have these 2 long tabs here, and then a small one at this end and 2 small ones at this end. And so when we put this, if we're holding the base plate this way, the hill that has the crossbar is going to be on this side here. And so we'll drop that kind of down into place and try to line up both of those big ones first. So I think that'll make things just a little bit easier. And then down here at this end, there's just a slight turn. So we'll drop that one into place as well. So now we got that end in, this first hill in, the second hill in, And then down here at this end, there's once again just a slight turn before we get to these two individual tabs. So we'll kind of get those lined up as well. Now that piece was a little bit more stubborn, but I got it in there, and so now we'll come here on the bottom and fold over these tabs once again. And right here, here's where you can kind of see we have these two tabs next to each other. So if we would have bent the one up, we probably would have had a problem there, and so now we can bend this other one down. Over here, this tab here could overlap that one there, so we bent it this way. This one, it doesn't look like it really matters. So we got each of those into place. Now this does have some slight turns here at the end. We want to make sure that those, the track shaping on those is just right. So you can just kind of come in here with your fingers, make sure that it looks like it's following the base plate pretty well. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect. It is a small model, but that is going to be track piece number 3 installed. So track piece number 4 is going to be this piece right here. And this is actually going to be a fairly sharp turnaround down here at this end. It's going to connect with the first piece that we installed here, and I believe just that first piece. Yeah, it's going to connect with just that first piece there. So we're going to start with this end here. So this one just kind of has 5 individual tabs down here at the bottom. So you'll just want to find the end that has the kind of the downhill here, and like I said, that's going to connect right here. So we'll start here just dropping that first tab into place, come to the second one and drop it into place as well. And then down here we have a turnaround. Once again, you just kind of want to bend it naturally to kind of go around. And this will require a little bit more shaping after we get it, and that's fine. That's just part of doing these models. We'll continue around this turnaround and drop the last 2 tabs into place as well. You want to make sure that these are pushed all the way down in, and then once again bend over the tabs on the bottom. Now once you have that in place, you want to come make sure that the track shaping is just right. It actually looks really good just from doing it that way. I didn't have to use anything there to help shape it. So that finishes track piece number 4. Now piece number 5 is going to continue from right where we left off there. Right here with this flat piece here, this is the mid-course brake run. And so like I said, that's going to continue right from where we left off. So we're going to drop that long tab down into place first. Right there where we left off at. And with this one, as I drop the first tab into place, I'm actually going to bend it over to kind of hold it in place. I think that might be a little bit easier with parts of this model, because as I go along, it seems like as I get one in all the way, another one pops out. And so by doing this as we go, I'll just kind of push this one down into place and then lock it into place. Same thing here with this third one. And then we're going to actually go into a turnaround here once again. This is going to be a fairly sharp turn. We'll drop each of these tabs down into place and then bend them over. And so there we have that track piece. Now with this turnaround, the shaping is definitely not right. This is going to be a smaller turnaround. I kind of left it wide with the natural bending, but I can actually drop a AA battery in here and then just kind of push the track around it to kind of mold it. The AA battery is the perfect size really for that turnaround. Now I can go along the rest of this track piece, straighten out the pieces that maybe got bent a little bit, make sure that the supports and stuff are all straight, make sure that everything just happens to line up perfectly. And so that's going to finish track piece number 5. Now the final track piece here is going to be the lift hill, the first drop, and the turnaround here. And this piece is actually mostly straight, so not a lot of bending, just a slight curve here at the end. So we're just going to kind of start here at the base of the lift hill and drop that first tab into place. Actually, so one of the things with this one, you also have underneath the Wonder Woman logo, you kind of have this V shape with the tab here. So that's actually going to go over the other 3 pieces of track. You can kind of see it here on JW.Coaster. It's exactly the same. So before we put that into place, I'm actually going to bend that out of the way, and then we'll bend that tab down a little bit at the bottom there, just to kind of get it out of the way. So now we can drop this first lift hill tab into place. And then we can get the second one as well. And then the rest of these on this piece are just individual ones that we can kind of drop in as we go along and just follow the track layout. Dropping each tab into place as you go. And then we'll just bend each of these over underneath to hold them into place. And then we also need to bend over this last frame, drop that tab into place and bend it over. And then once we have that, you want to make sure you go along your lift hill and your drop, make sure that that is perfectly straight or as straight as it can be. You could also get some needle nose pliers and just kind of use that to flatten it out. If you do that, be very careful. You don't want to scratch the paint on the model, but we can just kind of go along here and make sure everything lines up. And so that is going to be all of the track completed. Now the last two pieces we have here are the station building as well as the little sign. If you've ever done any other Nano coaster, you'll know that these station buildings are all the same. It's just kind of a little house. You fold that piece over into a little house and we'll drop that over where the station goes. And then once again, bend over the tabs underneath to hold it into place. And then we have the little sign. The little sign just drops into this last little slot here next to the logo that's there. We'll bend it over and then bend the sign back just a little bit. So like I said, you can look at these coasters, both very, very similar. I don't know which one I did a better job on. They both look really good, but they're very similar. Just a couple small differences between the two. Mostly there at the bottom edge. Like I said, Wonder Woman has the extra wave turn and then comes into the station from the side rather than having everything lined up down there. But that is the completed model from Magic Mountain, once again with my logo added. This is available from the park for $37.99. So the last step I like to do before I finish is to actually add a felt bottom to the bottom of the coaster. So if you rub this along the table, you notice these tabs are kind of, they'll scratch surfaces. I don't want that. And so here I have some adhesive felt I purchased from Amazon. It's really easy to add to the model. I do have a link to this down below. Once again, I don't get a kickback if you buy it. It's just there as something nice to have. You can typically get multiple models from each of these pieces of felt. This is the new piece here. But basically I can get this felt here and just come with my pen and trace around the base plate. And then we'll get some scissors and we'll cut along just inside of where we traced. Now you may notice I use this flat edge and this flat edge. I do like to use the flat edges of the coaster just to limit the amount of cutting I have to do. I do like to cut just inside, maybe 1/8 of an inch. The felt doesn't have to go all the way to the edge. It'll also stretch a little bit too. And so if you cut it right on the line, as you apply it, you'll likely get a little bit of stretching and it will hang over a little bit, and then you can still trim it up. It's not a huge deal, but I just found it's a little bit easier if we just cut it about 1/8 of an inch from the line. So there we have our piece of felt here. We'll make sure it lines up, looks like it's good here. To apply this, I like to just peel off part of the white paper backing here. So we'll just grab this one end and peel off about 1/3 of the backing going along and rip away this. And then we can line up the coaster model over this felt. Make sure that it once again lines up. Press down on the end that we've rebuilt the backing with. Now we can come in here and we can take the rest of this backing off and then just use the edge of the table to help us get this on smoothly. You want to make sure you're not trying to stretch the felt at all. Like I said, it does stretch a little bit. You also want to make sure that it's just getting lined up with everything. And there we have the felt bottom applied to the model. So really cool model. Like I said, I don't typically do near clones of each other or clones of each other, but this case was a little bit different because I do have all of the Magic Mountain Nano coasters and I wanted to keep that going. You can pick this up from Six Flags Magic Mountain May be available on the Six Flags website. I haven't actually looked. I will check, and if it is, I will put a link to it down there. It is $37.99. In the park, you can get a pass holder or membership discount, which can save you just a little bit of money. But yeah, I hope you liked this video. If you did, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. If you want to see more videos like this about nano coasters, about coaster cutouts, and a few other things that I have planned, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well. Thanks for watching and have a great day.